My friends, let me just share with you this very cool thing, which is actually a byproduct of my flower making process. So, last year I shared with you a video where I was playing with watercolor paper, and usually when I shape my flowers, I like to soak them in a color water. And usually I take out my flower petals and I place them on a kitchen towel. And this time, as soon as I stopped recording the video, I was thinking like, oh, this kitchen towel has such a beautiful color. I don't want to throw it away. So I grab another piece of the watercolor paper and I use my embossing folder to run these through together. This wet kitchen towel as well as the paper, and look on the effect. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is just, something happened by accident. I actually used those two pieces and then I left them and I forgot about this. I've tried to recreate this similar technique using the kitchen towel, but this time instead of the alcohol inks, I was using my distress oxide spray, and I must to tell you that effect was a little bit different. I still use the same watercolor paper, just to be clear, but the color soaking through the watercolor paper was actually not penetrating through the whole page like it was with the alcohol ink. I have to do another trial, but here another thing I want to share with you. I had this green kitchen towel, which I later on, after I use it on the embossing folder on the other paper, I transfer some color. I use the leftover piece to cut out the leaves. So how much more use I have. So here I have another piece of the paper which is already embossed, and this was actually something which I create quickly for my last video because I wanted to show you the detail on the embossing folder. And so I just, run through as per piece of the paper. Here I have this gorgeous die. Unfortunately, it's no longer produced. It's by one of the Craft Stash exclusive brands, but I really, really like this one. And I want to use, my own supplies. If you don't have anything like that, you can actually search for something similar, or you can cut the piece of the white paper, run it through the embossing folder, or maybe like use your border punch to create this nice like a wavy punch line on both edges. There's so many other things you can actually do to kind of mimic a similar element. So here I've decided to actually create the width of my panel based upon the width of my die. Sometimes I'm doing this, I call it kind of a reverse engineering, where I'm not starting from the ready-made card base and work around it, but I am trying to build up my card around the elements I'm gonna be using, so that way I am kind of deciding about the size. Here is a simple trick. If you cutting through the embossed panel, you have to make sure that you put one quick chop rather than slow down with your guillotine, because that way you're gonna have those like a little tear pieces, and if you do this one quick chop, you will have this beautiful clear line. So here I cut this beautiful element. And another tip I want to tell you, if you're releasing your die cut pieces from the die, if you slightly bend them out when you take them from the die, you can see that all those little bits, they are staying in your die cut like a metal die. It's so much easier to clean up the die rather than you have to poke through every single those little dots on your die cut piece. So here's a tip which I really like, and I usually try to leave as much as of those little bits in the die, because then I have this like a little brush which I can use, or sometimes if you tap your die on the side of your desk, or sometimes I even drop it on the floor, all those little bits are popping out super quickly, and I don't have to fuss with the paper. So here I cut this same elegant element from the gold paper, and this die actually has this decorative like a lacy design, and it has this full shapes which you can use as a shadow. So I cut them both because I wasn't sure which one I want to use, but I eventually decided that I like this double holes so I could see this blue paper underneath. So here I have my embossed panel, and this one has this like a odd size, which is like 6 and 7/8 by 8 and 1/8, and I'm gonna be adding 1/2 inch on each side. Yes, I could potentially trim it, but why not make our lives harder? I sometimes do that I am creating my own card bases, and this is the freedomness that I could make them in any size I want. And especially that I also make my own envelopes or packaging for my cards, so I'm not really bothered that, oh, this is not gonna fit the envelope. Here I was scoring my first paper, and I actually press my bone folder too firmly, so I have to chop this bit, but I don't mind because I will make another piece because I want to create this top hinge panel, so I still need 2 bits to glue them down. And my favorite technique is just to place the paper on the scoring board, score where I want my card to finish, then I am folding it down and I'm chopping it to the size, and that way I am creating this piece like a front panel with the additional flap, and I have a space to join these two pieces together. When you adhere your glue to your card base, like this little flap, always make sure that you smear it with your finger so all the adhesive is going all the way around the edges. And especially on the top hinge, it's better to fold the card slightly so you're not gonna put glue over the scoring line, but that way you have this full coverage on the paper, so when you adhere both layers together you're not gonna have any gaps within the paper. And what I like to do, I am putting them down both. I'm trying to fit my paper around the scoring line, then I am closing my card, and only when I see my corners are matching, then I am pressing down with my bone folder. And this is very important because if you press it too early, then you won't be able to actually adjust your card, so that will be nice and equal on all edges, so it will be just this professionally looking. For those who are curious about the sizes, this card measures 6 and 7/8 inch by 8 and 1/8 inch, or 17.5 by 20.5 centimeters. So this is the size. It's already unusual as it is. So this is one thing I love when you create the card bases which are kind of out of the regular sizing. Your cards already appear way more handmade because they have this kind of unusual, unique size. So here I cut the golden panel to go underneath my embossed paper, and because I don't want to waste this entire gold paper, I'm using my trimmer to cut out this little piece inside. And look how much paper I save thanks to this simple method. And now I'm trying to kind of build up my composition. This is how I envision this card to be. To adhere my gold frame to this embossed paper, I am grabbing a piece of the sanding paper and I'm just gently like rubbing around this frame, but avoiding to go over the external edge. I want to have this nice gold paper, unscratched, so I'm only scraping it on the inside area. And that way the adhesive is actually seeping through this gold paper, so it's adhering to my panel way better and nothing will comes off later. And this is important because many occasions I find that sometimes the adhering something over the gold mirror cardstock is quite tricky because they are coated with this like a slippery surface, which is not giving a lot of chance for the adhesive to penetrate and to really hold it. So I always like to keep it secure. And cutting out those internal piece from the mirror cardstock, it's also a way to protecting your card from falling apart, because later on when you add your adhesive to the back side of this panel, you actually add it to the golden frame, but you also add it on the inside part of the white panel, like this embossed panel from the back side. So that way you adhere both layers directly to your card base. I hope that makes sense. Here I've decided to use a piece of the beer mat, which is this compressed cardboard. If you ever been in like a cafe or like bar, pub, they always have those like a little coasters. And this is the materials which is made from, and it's super lightweight, and it's also having this good thickness and sturdiness. And this is what I love, especially if I have this large panel to cover, rather than wasting tons of the foam squares or like a foam roll tape. I can add one single piece of this compressed cardboard, and it's not much heavier than using the foam tape, but this will give me this nice clean, like almost like a slate effect, that my card, it's not gonna be wonky. And I've noticed that many times, that if I'm adding like a foam tape around the large panel, like 8.5 size or A5 size or something, it usually get a little bit warp up, and I never had this problem with using the cardboard. Here I'm adding plenty adhesive on the back side, this gold piece, and I'm gently shifting them together, so I will have this nice shadowy effect. And I really like how this sticking out. I had the other panel which I cut and I didn't use it, but I thought, let me just make this one to use as well. So I've decided to chop it in half and use it as those little additional borders to accent my front panel, this little panel which will be on the front of this large panel. And I actually use a die to cut out some sentiments. Initially, this is the sentiment I was planning to use on my card, and I cut like 4 or 5 layers out of the gold paper, but later on I've decided that it's not really showing perfectly. Maybe if this would be more chunky sentiment, or with this proper like a shadowy effect, I could use that, but this super skinny best wishes sentiment, it wasn't the best choice, so I actually skipped it, and I've decided to go with something else. So here I am adhering those two pieces which I've separated, like I've cut it into 2 pieces, and here this provides me this super like nice effect. And again, if you don't have anything like that, you can grab a piece of the gold paper and one of your like a border punch, or like a border edge die if you have any, and create something similar. Or even if you have those like a kids fun scissors with this like a wavy line, you can use something like that as well to have a similar look. So here it's time to assemble my card together. And I add a piece of the glue to the back of this cardboard, and I always put my card upside down and use my bone folder to make sure I am pressing firmly all this panel, so that way I am actually making sure it's adhering properly, but all the liquid adhesive which is underneath is actually flattened up, so there's no more like a glue lumps, and that way it prevent the card from warping. Sometimes, I don't know if many of you has been, having this situation that you glue something on front of your card, and then when you open up your card on the inside, you can see the glue marks on the inside part of your card. So that way, once you're gonna be pressing firmly with your bone folder, you actually minimize this risk of having this paper warping. I attach my little like decorative panel on the front of this blue color one, and oh my word, I'm absolutely in love with how this card is turning out. So as I've mentioned, I'm not gonna use this best wishes sentiment, and instead of that, I went with one of my own, like a printed sentiment, and the one I choose says faith, hope, and love. And I think this is such a lovely quote to use for any like a wedding card, anniversary card, or even if you have some love, warm message to write to someone, this will be working well. And here it's something which I think it looks super, super elegant. What I like to do sometimes, I put my sentiment on top of the gold paper to give it this teeny tiny, like a 1 millimeter gold border, and then I am giving and I am placing it on top of another decorative paper, usually the one which is matching with the paper I'm using on a card, especially if I have this like a piece of the white panel where I'm gonna be attaching this sentiment, because that would not be making sense if I would put the blue color, frame on top of the blue color paper. But here, once I place it on this white lacy panel, you can see how beautifully it looks like, and this makes the whole card looking cohesive. And I know this is additional extra step, but sometimes, and I cannot praise it enough, if you'd like your card to appear luxurious, if you like them to be unique, one of the kind, have this wowzer effect, this is what it makes it. All those little details, all those like extra frame, extra pop of gold, like frame around your die cut pieces, or like adding some pearls, adding some extra like 2 3 types of the leaves to your composition. So many little steps which are super easy, but building up this like a skill set of creating more unique and luxurious card is actually what's required, making a couple extra steps. And of course, this is not for every card. I also make a simple card, quickest card. Not every single one of the card is this amount of the workload, but sometimes from time to time I want to create something super pretty, something I can give to my family, or like someone I really want to make something special for. And also for the customer orders, these are really something which is popular. I find that the people, whenever they're looking for some handmade products, they want to make sure that they are getting the best quality. So this is what I like to create. Let me know what's your experience, if you'd like to create a simple quick card, or you'd like to actually play up a little bit more. Give me a shout, like in a comment if you can, what is your possible like time frame which you want to spend on each card. For example, some friends will say like, oh, I can make one card for an hour. The other one will say like, oh no, like if it's more than half an hour, it's not for me. I'm super, super curious what's your opinion on this subject. I must to tell you personally, I love sometimes sit down and create like bunch of the quick cards, but I also have those days when the sky is the limit. If I have 4 hours, I can work 4 hours on one project, and I don't mind, because when I finally finish, when I glue this last pearl, last piece of the decoration, I can look on this project and be like, oh wow, this is really looking nice. And I love this feeling, and I highly encourage you, even if you don't have many supplies, just have a look, play with different dies, different companies, mix and match whatever you have, and try to build up, play a little bit to create this kind of a more advanced look on your cards. So my card is almost finished. I am adding a couple of the flowers, those kitchen towel leaves, which I think they are looking gorgeous, and they really matching nicely with the color palette of this card. And here is a little close-up look. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please don't forget to say hi in a comment, share the video with your crafty friends, and of course subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you all a fabulous day. Crafty hacks, and bye bye.